What are your most controversial hot takes on Horrid Henry? It's a Reddit thread, and we're going to go through the top 5 most controversial and see exactly what we think of them. Mum and Dad aren't bad parents. They're just a bit ignorant and weird, and it's important to learn that's allowed. A loud, chaotic kid with another whiny child brings distress. This causes them to act ignorantly towards Henry. My response to this is, yes, I agree. The parents are ignorant. They're ignorant about how to be good parents. That in turn makes them bad parents. For example, there's so many occasions where they're just not there when Henry needs them. I always sort of think about the episode Horrid Henry and the Demon Dinner Lady, and that's an episode where Henry really needs his parents to sort of step in and stick up for him, and they don't. In that episode, Greasy Greta, what a name, by the way. Greasy Greta she's literally stealing all of Henry's lunch, and not just Henry, it goes for the other kids too, your Moody Margarets, your Rude Ralphs, all of them, okay? This woman comes in, takes it, because it's unhealthy. Well, not unhealthy enough for you to eat though, Greasy Greta. That sort of fact sort of slides you by, right?
Hey, that's mine! Not anymore. It's confiscated. You ate my muffin? Yes, I did. No treats allowed.
It's really not fair.
So in this episode, Henry tries to tell his mum, and this is her loving and oh so caring response.
Henry, turn the light out now and go to sleep, please.
But Mum, there's a demon dinner lady at school and she's taking all our treats.
Oh, that's nice. Night-night.
She really couldn't care less, could she? I mean, could she make it any more obvious that she just doesn't really give a damn about Henry and any of his problems? In her mind, Henry's probably just making it up, right? He's Horrid Henry. He's always to blame. Remember, in her mind, he's always to blame. I'm not even going to make the argument that Henry is an easy child to raise, In the TV show, Henry is quite difficult. I always it does sting me a little bit when I see the degrading way that he talks to perfect Peter. Here's a clip.
It's really heavy.
You need less traction and more lift.
Get lost, worm.
Don't be horrid, Henry. Any ideas, Peter?
Remember, the user says that Henry is a loud, chaotic kid. And again, I'm not going to dispute that fact. Henry is a loud, chaotic kid. But the thing is, so are most 8-year-olds. Okay? So are most 8-year-olds. It's a very normal thing. Just because he's loud and chaotic, does that really mean Henry should be subject to cruel and over-the-top punishments? By the way, take a look at this clip of Henry's mum sending Henry to bed without any dinner. Do you think this user would argue that she's ignorant about the fact that Henry needs food to survive?
What are you talking about, Mum?
Never mind, Henry. Go to your room.
Can I have my questionnaire back?
No, go to your room now, Henry.
What about tea?
You can have tea in the morning. Now go.
I give up.
I'm sorry, ignorance is no excuse. William is the best character. The fact that his whole character is just crying over literally anything is hilarious to me. Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon actually, because when you look on the Horrid Henry subreddit and you read comments on YouTube, you see that William is actually a surprisingly popular character within the Horrid Henry fandom. And you can't help but wonder why that is. When I think about it, I think it could be because it's nice for fans to have a young male character who isn't afraid to express his emotions, in a way. Weepy William is many things. Unafraid to express his emotions is not one of them. This boy, when he's feeling something, you'll know he's feeling it, okay?
William, you're next. I don't want to go! Save me! Somebody save me! Don't be silly, William. It's only an injection. Yeah, cry, baby.
I mean, a character like Weepy William is actually pretty rare on British kids' TV. I mean, when I think about it, I can't really think of any other characters that are quite as emotional as Weepy William. Indeed, there is something quite nice about the predictability, shall we say, of Horrid Henry characters, and Francesca Simon has mentioned this herself, if I recall correctly, in an interview. She said that her Horrid Henry books are particularly popular with autistic children, and that's because of the stability and indeed the predictability of Horrid Henry characters. You know that Ralph is going to be rude. You know that Andrew's going to be anxious. Margaret's going to be moody. And of course, William is going to be weepy. Hit that like button and comment below if you would like me to do a standalone Weepy William video, because he's actually a pretty interesting character. I mean, what's his deal? What's his lore? What's going on behind that weepy facade? There are unconfirmed rumours that Weepy William is crying all the time because he's being bullied by moody Margaret. She won't just leave him alone. Others believe that he's suffering from a depressive disorder. So comment below if you'd like that I explore all these different theories in further detail. Henry isn't a complete saint. He's a kid who has trouble understanding what is right and what is wrong. In the books, he's a complete menace and is usually a jerk, if you think about it. I don't actually know anyone that's making the argument that Henry is a saint. I mean, do you? Henry is a difficult child, okay? He's not an easy child to raise. I would never make that argument. Yes, I'm aware that in a recent subreddit poll, Henry was voted the most likable character, but that doesn't necessarily mean that fans think he's this perfect beacon of how to behave, right? Nobody would argue that. In fact, I would argue that fans are probably just being a little bit over-defensive about Henry because of the way that he's treated by fuming Francesca and silly Simon. We want to defend Henry, okay? You see a child that's vulnerable, okay? It's quite a human thing, I think, to almost want to step in and protect Henry. For the most part, I mean, Henry is a good kid with most of the time pretty good intentions. Like there's this time when Henry does his chore and then quite innocently just wants to go down into the dining room and read his comic. And he sort of gets physically intimidated. She has like a paper and everything and she's hitting it and it's so weird by his own mother. Just for wanting to chill after doing a chore. I mean, who hasn't wanted to chill after doing a chore?
Morning, everyone.
Afternoon, Henry.
I've tidied my room. And now I'm going to read my comic.
And, Henry, you've still got the toilet rolls to do.
So, that's it. People don't think Henry's a saint. I just think this user's got it slightly wrong. They've slightly missed a point. We don't think Henry's a saint. We think he's a decent kid who's treated badly, and we don't really like the fact that he's treated badly. I felt kind of bad for Peter in that episode where he decided to be horrid to get attention. Don't at me. So, I actually remember this episode. I think I've talked about this episode before, okay? The episode in question is Perfect Peter's Horrid Day. Peter is super tired in this episode of being ignored, of Henry getting all of the attention, so Peter decides to flip the script, as it were. He decides to misbehave so he can be the one getting attention, albeit negative attention. But then again, when you're a child, sometimes attention is just attention. It's just something you need, be it in its positive or negative form. However, the funny thing is it doesn't really work for Peter because Horrid Henry is so ingrained, that phrase, Horrid Henry, is so ingrained in the minds of his parents that even when it's Peter misbehaving, they just blame Henry anyway. I mean, who can forget the infamous, and I have talked about it before, I know that, but we'll just play it again for old time's sake, the infamous hosepipe incident. And this, in my opinion, is Silly Simon's darkest moment.
Don't tell lies, Henry.
It's true. I sprayed him.
Well, Henry, you should have got out of the way when Peter was watering the flowers.
What's the big idea?
So I wonder why, in this instance, the user who gave this controversial opinion feels bad for perfect Peter. I wonder, could it be because just as Henry is condemned to be forever horrid, you know, even if Henry does something good, it's shrouded in suspicion. They kind of think, hang on, he's horrid Henry. He shouldn't be being good. You know, he's up to something. Just as Henry's condemned with the tag horrid Henry forever, Peter is condemned to be perfect forever. And that in itself is not an easy thing to live up to, especially as such a young child. To have such high expectations, to live up to that, can't be very easy. It's a pressure in and of itself, and it just can't be a very nice thing for a 6-year-old boy to experience. And actually, now I think about it, there are loads of occasions in the TV show, tons, okay, tons. I'll play you one right now, where Peter actually feels too scared to face his own mother because he fears the repercussions of, he fears her anger and the potential repercussions of her discovering that he hasn't quite met those expectations. He hasn't quite been perfect. He's messed up. He's screwed up, for want of a better phrase, okay? And Peter's terrified. He's scared of his own mother. Peter's scared of his own mum. That's not the point of a mum.
I can't go in there. I can't tell Mum I didn't win anything. She's going to be so disappointed in me.
Here, worm. Show her this.
This clip isn't right. Young kids need to be allowed to make mistakes. So all in all, I do think that this is actually the most valid of the hot takes that I've seen thus far. Okay, final hot take. Henry's dad is the finest character, and so is Uncle Francis. Okay, that's enough.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.